Hey guys, Dream here, aka the Nerdy Gentleman. How are you guys doing today? I wanted to make this video series for new pilots into Star Citizen. We have 3.18 that's going to be coming out shortly, and we just got back from IAE 2952, the International Aerospace Expo, and so there's a lot of new pilots that are coming to the system, and I wanted to go through and get this video series out to go through and give you guys a good stepping point to really take advantage of all of the systems that are in Star Citizen. So with that, going into our starting screen, this is the main screen that you're going to get whenever you come into Star Citizen. You do have your options across the bottom: quit, game, and options. Options will bring you in to go through your game settings, graphics, interface, audio controls, key bindings, comms, and FOIP. The biggest thing that you're going to want to go through and look for on this page, outside of setting up your graphics, which you're going to have to do that a bit more on your own side because you're going to know what your graphic system is and your processing and your amount of RAM and everything like that. So you can kind of check over that, but what you're going to want to mainly look out for on here as a new pilot is going into the key bindings. And the reason is because they do actually have a full keyboard out to go through and give you a whole list of all of your key bindings and see what they go through and do. You do have different modes here. If you look on the bottom right, you have flight mode, which is what we're currently looking at, and then on foot. So you can zoom in whenever it zooms in whenever you go over the settings here, but it can give you a good idea of what the defaults are for all of your different settings on here, all of your different buttons on your keyboard. You do also have gamepad. If you go through and switch your options right here on the side, keyboard, mouse, gamepad, it will show you what the gamepad options are. Joystick HOTAS, if you do have a HOTAS or HOSAS or HOSAM or HOSAM plus pedals, if you have any of those, it does require its own kind of separate video. I would look for specifically your HOTAS and Star Citizen in YouTube and see what people have gone through and set up on there. They do actually have, if you go into advanced customized controls, they do actually have some default controller profiles that are built into here. The SciTech X52, the X52 Pro, Thrustmaster T16000M, like a dual setup, so a HOSTAS setup on there, VKB Gladiators, and then you can go through and create your own as well. So they do have options inside of here for you to be able to go through and set up HOTAS quickly, but a lot of people will go through and take those and then customize them. We go back out to our main screen. Looking from the bottom to the top, we do have the Arena Commander. Arena Commander is a great place to go in and set up your key bindings and to go through and test out ships without having to go through into the universe and get blown up and have to go through and use insurance to pull your ships back. Clicking in here, we do actually have a few options. I will go over these quickly. Multiplayer and single player for setting up HOTAS and key bindings. Single player, and then if you click on the top, go to game mode, free flight is going to be your best friend. With that, you're able to go through and set up your key bindings and test them out in a single player world that's not going to worry about 30Ks or anything like that, or anybody messing with you in the persistent universe, and you can test out to your heart's content. You can actually test out ships too that are not just fighters. If you do have a Miss Prospector, you can go through and test your key bindings for switching over to mining mode, stuff along those lines. Obviously, you're not going to be able to mine any rocks, but it does go a long ways. So spend some time in here and get your HOTAS system set up. We're going to exit back out. Star Marine, I'll be honest, I don't play a whole lot of. I do know I've messed with it a couple times, and I know that it is a first-person shooter area for you to go through and kind of test out some of the different weapons, some of the different armors, and be able to go through and take out enemies. Persistent Universe is what we are mainly here to look at. If you click on the Persistent Universe screen for the first time, it's not going to show up like this. It's actually going to show up and say, choose a primary starting location or primary residence. Whenever you do choose a primary residence, there are 4 locations. That is Area 18 in ArcCorp. There is Orison on Crusader, Lorville on Hurston, and New Babbage on Microtech. Each one of those areas has its own way to get around and what you're going to want to look for to be able to get to the space station and stuff like that to be able to pull your ships. I will have a separate video series for each of those, and they will be linked up in the top right when those series are available. Going and starting out from your starting location and showing you how to get around, what's available to you in that area, and what you're going to want to look for. Once we enter into Star Citizen, depending on your setup, it can go through and have a different load time. It is best to load straight to a solid state drive if you have that available, or an M.2 drive. It is the fastest and you will load in quicker. All right, and once we load in, we are going to be spawned at a hab unit on whatever station or system that you start on. Basic controls right now, your mouse obviously looks around. WASD will move. To get out of the bed, you hit Y. And if we bring up our on-screen keyboard, it'll allow you to see the buttons that I am pushing. WASD is your movement. Shift is your sprint. Control is your crouch. Your scroll wheel actually does allow you to move faster. Your main function is F for your function key. It's your insight key. So to open up a door or turn off the lights, you hold F, and then you will left click on the item. That will actually turn the lights off and on. To open the doors, hold F and click on the door to get out on the pad. And I am actually on Crew L1 station, the Ambitious Dream station, so I am not in a typical starting area. Like I said, I will have a video series that goes through and starts off from each of the starting locations, the resident zones that you can start off with, to show that off for you. So WASD to move, and then if we actually use our scroll wheel on our mouse, you can adjust the speed that you walk, or getting it up to a nice run. This is without hitting shift, and then if I hit shift, it will speed up. Going from the slowest walk and hitting shift, you can see a difference in the speed. F1 will pull up your Moby Glass. Your Moby Glass is typically how you're going to go through and see what your current balance is, any crime stats you might have, pressure, all the stuff about yourself. And then you have different tabs across the bottom. First one is the comm link, which is the chat in game, or if you are in with a friend or party, you can go through and see those. Vehicle Loadout Manager is where you will go through and add on and remove components from your ships that you have stored at that station that you're currently at. You'll do that by clicking on one of the ships. It will load up information on here about it. And then you can go through and change your parts that you want to change on there. Knickknacks is a way to go through and track where you have stuff out in the universe. This isn't the best system for it right now. Even RSI and everything has talked about trying to get a better system in place. The Knickknacks is kind of like a placeholder for what's available in those different areas. Skyline, this is your map of the system. Currently I am at Crew L1 Ambitious Dream station. Crusader, and if you double click on them, it will zoom into that specific area. Double click right clicking will bring you and zoom you out fully into the map. System can be a little bit difficult to go through and try to navigate, but it does do pretty well. There is no in-game map for each area that you're at. I know a lot of people have asked for that, but it has not ever come up on anything on there. Mo Trader, this is how you can go through and trade credits to people. If you have friends that play and you want to be able to go through and trade credits, or if they want to trade credits to you, you use the Mo Trader system on here. Contracts Manager, this is where you will be able to start off and actually look for missions on different things. Currently on the station that I'm at and the area that I'm at, there is available bounty hunter missions and mercenary missions. Be sure to watch what these are actually asking for. Some of them is to go through and get payments to go through and get stuff done. There are some times that they require you to go through and have a fee to go through and get a Bounty Hunters Guild license. There's a fee, so you're actually paying them. So fee or accept offer, right? They're going to tell you what the payment's going to be or if there's going to be a fee right there. Mercenary missions, same thing. Different ones that are available on there. Personal. Be careful with these because a lot of times these are ones that will get you listed with crime stats if you actually take some of these missions. But this is where they are available on there. Accepted shows the ones that you've accepted. History is the ones that you've completed in the past during this play session. And then beacons, if you need to set up a beacon to go through and say, hey, I need to lift from here to here and I don't know where the hell I am. You can create a beacon on there. Vehicle maintenance services is what you would use in your ship. while you're on the landing pad when you take your ship off, and you can go through and refuel, repair, rearm, and remissile. Journal, this is a tracking of different information for the areas that you're at, jurisdiction, art, corporate notification for what's a felony there, UEE felonies and misdemeanors, contract manager, stuff like that. Shows whenever you have different things for different guilds and everything like that. And finally, the Delphi system on here, or Delphi. This is your all of the different organizations. This is your reputation with them, with the different organizations. I do a lot of solo mining and stuff like that, so I don't have a huge reputation with a lot of these, but you do gain reputation as you do more contracts with the different organizations that are available. Contacts on here is typically more of your elusive gang members and stuff like that in different areas. So if you want to do the life of crime, your contacts information, your reputation with contacts will be updated on there. But it will follow along the line. So for bounty hunting and stuff like that, you have Blackjack Security, Bounty Hunters Guild, Crusader Security, Hurston Security. And each of those, if you go through and do missions, but you're not gaining affinity in certain areas, like with Crusader Security, it means you need to be doing more Crusader Security missions, which means you would need to be in the Crusader space around Crusader to be able to go through and grab those missions from it. And then this is your start area, or brings you back to your start menu when you come up. Walking to different areas, we can go through and call an elevator whenever you... Yeah, all right. Hey, how's it going, buddy? Whenever you do call an elevator, it is a setup on here to where you actually can see the different sets for the current floor that you're on. You want to definitely go down to lobby anytime that you go through and pop into an elevator. Make sure you go down to the one that you're looking for. But to get from your space that you start off in any world, you'll get into the elevator, and they are all well lit and notified saying that elevator. Generally, you're going to come out in an easy hab area or in the living space for where you're at, and then you can walk around. There is a lot of information to go through and go over on these videos. Again, going at any point in time and hitting escape, going to options and going to your key bindings for on foot will show you a ton of information. 1 through 6 to go through and bring up your sidearms, your primary weapon, secondary weapon, your gadgets. Your gadgets are things like your medicine guns or your mining or tractor beam gadgets. All of those will come up with 4 melee mission items, and then T is your flashlight. So definitely keep an eye on this section right here. This is going to be your biggest help to go through and kind of pull that stuff up. I am actually not in any kind of gear, but the other thing that it will show you on there is what your F options, what your F keys do, right? F1 for Mobi-Glass, F2 for Star Map, F4 for your cycle camera view, and then F11 will pull up directly into your chat, and F12 will remove the chat from your screen. So if you do not see chat on your screen, but you are, you do have, you're trying to figure out where it's at, F12 will bring that back up, and most of the time I do have that off unless I'm actually needing to go through and chat back and forth with the chat services. In most Lagrange points and areas, you are going to have your elevator that's going to bring you from different locations between your hangar and habs. Crew L1, we actually have a refinery on this station, and the Galleria. The Galleria in this area is going to be where you're going to find most of your places to get weapons and armor, clothing, food, water, things that you need to go through and be able to survive inside the universe. So a lot of that's going to be taken care of at the Galleria. If we walk around up here, you're going to go through and see that there is the Platinum Bay, which sells ship parts, and the armory sales place, whatever. What the hell is this place called? Doesn't matter. The armory that you can go through and be able to pick up gear on most of these stations, or on all of these systems. You're going to go through and be able to click hold F down and left click onto the screens, and this is going to be where you're going to buy all of your gear. The choose destination is really important to be able to go through and use up top. A lot of people don't realize that in the choose destination, it's actually saying, where do you want us to send this stuff whenever you buy it? I always go through and base mine out to whatever location that I'm at. So at this point in time, I'm at Crew L1 Ambitious Dream Station. So if I click right there and go through and quick buy, it's going to send it to my inventory at Crew L1 local inventory on Crew L1 station. So if I back out of here, which you can go through and do by backing away from it or hitting the X. Hi, thanks. If we hit I is going to pull up our inventory. Pay no attention to what's going on with my face because it's just what I look like. I have the camera on, so it's going to go through and try to be tracking my mouth. But this is your local inventory here, and then if you click your filters, you can actually filter out just by armor, undersuits, etc. Utilities and weapons. So there's your paramed medical device or your pyro multi-tool. Weapons, sustenance for food and water. Vehicles, this is your vehicle parts that you have available for these vehicles that you have stored here. Ammo, you get the point. If you click on the filter again, it gets rid of all filters until it just shows everything. And then to be able to equip gear, you will need to strip down basically. But if I wanted to go through and equip an undersuit, if I wanted to equip stuff so I can go out in space, you're going to first have to go through and use undersuits. And then go over to your armor. We actually have a specific set that we use for whenever we go out mining. MacFlex core set. So, helmets. Arms. Chest. You can also store a backpack, so it does have little spots that you're going to snap to. There is a little glitch right now going on in the game to where sometimes it just keeps snapping back to your inventory and it doesn't snap to you. If that happens, try it a couple times. If it doesn't work, go back out of your inventory screen by hitting I again. And then we will basically just keep trying to go through and get it attached to our back. Once we do have it attached to our back, we have storage compartments on our system. So this stuff is your personal storage that you have on your person. So leg compartments, and then you do have a certain amount of USCU that you can go through and store in each of these areas. And the helmet never came back on. Come on. There we go. Now, if we hit F4, we can actually look around ourselves. And Z is your look around button. If you tap it, if you hold it down, and move your mouse around, you can actually move your camera around the person to see what you look like from different angles. If you hit F4 again, it'll go through from your first person view to your orbit view, and then to your last view is actually a developer or a director mode view. With this, you can actually do a lot more functions, and you can do it in the orbit view as well. But if you hold F4 down, you can actually move your camera to where it's set up in a specific spot using your cursor keys. As you can see, I'm doing there on the bottom. Your home keys, your page up and page down keys, and then your home keys and your in keys actually adjust your blur distance, your depth of field. Plus and minus. There is actually a whole separate video on this for doing just the camera controls. But the nice thing about that is that whenever you do have it set up, you can just keep it in that mode and you can walk around. So you can kind of set up different views. Don't mind my face, I kind of look like Rocky Balboa. But you can set up these camera views to where it actually makes it to where that is the view now. And if I hit F4 again, I can go back to first person. But I can set up these different camera views to where I have a different view of my character whenever I want to walk around. And this also happens in ships as well. this video has gone on long enough. I do want to try to keep these videos to where they're concise, so not a whole lot of extra. This is how you do your basic startups for getting around a a hab unit or a station and everything like that. Your basic functionalities for walking and the basic locations of where to find more information on how to go through and do that stuff, with going into our key bindings and actually just kind of like looking over our screen so we can see that from the get-go. I will have a second part to this series. So part 2, we will actually go through about calling our ships and getting into our ships and some of the different flight modes and flight controls and everything like that. That goes along with those. So if you guys did like this series, make sure you go and hit that thumbs up button if it did help you out. If you guys want to see more in this series, make sure you subscribe so you can see all the latest videos that are coming out with these video series. Until next time, guys, this is Dream, aka The Nerdy Gentleman. Thank you guys so much for being here. Let me know what you guys think of the video down in the comments below. And if this helped you out, please share it with some new pilots as well that can go through and get this series to go through and just get them a better start off within Star Citizen. Thank you, guys. Game happy.